Hey there, and welcome to That's Audacious, where we share entrepreneurial stories from amazing leaders to inspire and motivate you to be bold, brave, and audacious. I'm your host, Lauren Clement, the brand navigator, here to share stories that will make you say, well, that's audacious. Hello and welcome to the That's Audacious podcast. Today we have the fabulous Kylie Chown, who's the director of my digital brand. She's a LinkedIn strategist, a speaker, and a trainer with over 15 years of experience. I think it's probably longer than LinkedIn's even been around, Kylie. So tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do and why you're so passionate about everything LinkedIn.
Yeah, amazing. So first of all, big thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here with you. We always have an amazing conversation. So I know that today won't be any different. If I think about what I do, it's essentially helping people, teams, and organizations build really clarity around their LinkedIn strategy, but also the confidence to implement it. So I guess if I think about why I do this is I've seen through the clients that I work with and people that I talk to them and they're amazing at what they do. So they've got great experience, they've got great skills, and they've just got this lots of great things they can bring, but they're often overlooked because they're not visible, particularly through LinkedIn. So I was talking to someone yesterday and we had a really great conversation. And the point kind of came up is that your competitors aren't necessarily always better than you, but they just might be a bit more visible than you. So it's helping people use LinkedIn to have that strategy and then the confidence so that they are essentially themselves online. It's really not about making people bigger and bolder than what they are. It's really just elevating their online to match them in person.
Yeah, I love it. You're speaking my language, Kylie.
I know.
The world's best kept secret. It's funny,
Yeah.
I can't remember who said it. It might have been Grant Cardone or someone like that. It's not the best that wins, it's the best known that wins.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
And it is sad, isn't it, when you meet people in person and they're this incredible, energetic, passionate, purposeful entrepreneur or leader and doing amazing things, and to go check them out online, it's like, this isn't the same person I met.
Yeah.
There's just nothing here. So what are some of the big number one mistakes that people make when it comes to really creating a LinkedIn profile?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think exactly that kind of whole concept that you're touching on is that the understanding of the importance, I think, is one of the first mistakes they make, in that they don't understand that. People will learn about you online before they meet you in person. We know that more than 88% of people will actually look you up on Google before they reach out to you if it's for a business opportunity. Because of how LinkedIn ranks with Google and indexing, it's highly likely that your LinkedIn profile is going to be returned in those search results. So the first mistake I think that people make is actually not understanding how powerful their LinkedIn can be and how powerful it can be in shaping their digital first impression. Then when they come into their profile, what I find is that they tend to keep it really historic. So there's a lot of information about what they've done in the past jobs, their education, and absolutely, that's absolutely important for credibility, but it doesn't necessarily sell them for the next opportunity. So, I always talk to people about, imagine your absolute ideal client landed on your profile like right now. Would you be happy with that? And are you happy with that message that it sends them? And if the answer is no, then maybe they've got some work to do in that space.
I love it. Everyone who's listening right now is having a look at their LinkedIn profile.
Google yourself.
I think to do something. Yeah, and it's interesting, isn't it? Because it's very droll, isn't it? If it's just like a CV. If it just dot point, this is what I've done. But also, on the other hand, we don't need to know the color of your underwear either, do we? So
we don't need to know that.
Happy medium. But LinkedIn, you talked about just now, the value of it from an SEO point of view, in that it's indexing you. It's getting you right up there on top of Google. And if you've got a similar name, like if you're a John Smith or whatever else, you really have to fight through to get there. And also I find everyone wants to make a name for themselves. But then when that's fine, getting found. But as you say, then they go and actually look at what you've got on there. And there's a disconnect between what you are actually talking all about, maybe in real life or on social media, and what your profile looks like.
Yeah, absolutely.
So most people also think that LinkedIn is like it's just a place you go to get a job. Yeah, that's got to be one of the biggest myths, hasn't it? What if
absolutely.
Why am I on LinkedIn if I don't actually need to get employed in a corporate somewhere?
Yeah, absolutely. And I was saying earlier that like I was doing a corporate project the other day, and that was the feedback. One of the team members was like, well, I'm not actually looking for a job, so why do I need to do this? And it's very much, I think if you're employed, and even if you're not actively looking, I think, and again, this more than anyone, that professional brand is really important, even for your internal positioning. So if you're going for promotions later, how you're positioned internally for the organization. Primarily, though, the space that I work in is business owners, and I think it's just understanding that it's a piece of digital real estate. So everything is essentially is an asset that you can put forward, and your LinkedIn is part of that. So we know that people are going to search for you. We know that your profile is going to come up in those search results. So you want to influence that digital asset so that you're putting your best position forward or your best profile forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, quick question, because I know this is something that everyone was going to ask, is AI and LinkedIn. What's going on in terms of the types of content you're seeing being created for people's profiles, and also the content they're sharing in terms of AI? Is it good? Is it bad? Is it noticeable? What do you see?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think, first of all, it's really interesting, and it's changing a lot. So it's absolutely changing a lot. I think we've kind of evolved to the point where we can see where someone's actually created content where they've copied and pasted the complete post onto LinkedIn. I think people are becoming more educated and more aware of that type of content. So from my perspective, I think if we look at how AI is used in LinkedIn, personally, like I'll use it with clients to come up with ideas and concepts and themes and things like that. But the actual writing, I'll get them to do. And I think that comes back to thinking of the opportunity this presents, right? So we do know that AI is generating a lot of content on LinkedIn. So if we can then create content, and maybe AI supports us in doing it, but if we're creating content that's personal and shows experience and shows our personality, then that's really going to stand out in a market where we're starting to see that more generic AI content coming through.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there is so much content being created at the moment. There's something about having a flavor to content and being a bit more compelling and intriguing that there's not the nuances there in AI than you get from a proper human created bit of content. So Kylie, if you go back to your profile, I know you've been doing this a long time. You've been working with LinkedIn, you've been working with people to get their profiles really improved and using LinkedIn as a way of generating some great leads for their businesses. What are some of the challenges that you've had to overcome with growing your own profile? Because there are a lot of LinkedIn specialists out there. So what are some of the things you've come across?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's a really great question. So I think if I kind of go right back to the beginning, if I think about that, I think the advice I would have for myself would be to start sooner. So even though I had a profile for a long time, to be honest, I didn't start content at the same time I started my profile. So I think if I go back to then, I'd kind of go, well, just start sooner and don't wait until you feel like you're ready and have everything perfectly figured out to start developing it, because your profile, your content, your positioning, it's going to evolve and change over time. But I think that kind of every minute that you're not putting yourself out there, you're missing opportunities. And absolutely what you've said, like, I think I've seen, like, personally, I've seen more and more people come into this space, providing advice and guidance on LinkedIn. So I just really, to be honest, I just try and stay on my track and in my lane and just focus on what I know works with my clients and focus in on that and sharing more of that as well. And sharing stuff that I think is helpful to my clients. I think we do see a bit of a trend around hacks and, ways to gamify it and things like that. And again, I'm not necessarily going down that path. So it's really just sticking with what I know works for me and with the clients as well.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And what you said before, it really is a piece of real estate, isn't it? That you're owning online, that people can find you and find out more about you. But if you've owned the real estate, but you don't cut the grass, You know,
I love that.
You know, the weeds grow up and you're not looking after it. You might have a piece of real estate, but nobody wants to come visit.
Yeah, I love it. That's awesome. I might steal and quote that, Lauren.
You've got to cut the lawns, yeah.
As said by Lauren.
Yeah, exactly. The interesting thing also that you mentioned in there was that it's not just a case of setting up your profile and it's set and forget and that's it. You obviously have to keep going back. How often would you suggest that people are reviewing their profile on LinkedIn?
Yeah, absolutely. So I like to do a bit of an annual check-in. I think that's a really good point to kind of think about, okay, where I'm looking to go moving forward. Ideally, what we want to do for businesses, though, is align it with any business strategy. So, for example, if you're having quarterly business strategy meetings, then looking at, okay, do I need to make any changes to my LinkedIn, whether that's the profile, whether that's the strategy itself, so whether that's the content or the connection. So when I'm talking about LinkedIn for business, it's really that top-down approach. So what are the business objectives? What's the business trying to achieve? And how can LinkedIn as a form of marketing support the business to achieve that? So I then go back to is every time your business strategy changes, there's an opportunity for you to go and just make sure that how you're positioning LinkedIn as a marketing vehicle aligns with that. If you're not doing that, I think at the minimum, like every 12 months, but I think if you want to be really strategic, I would be aligning it with the business objectives. And that could be, you know, you might be entering a new market, you might be launching a new product, you know, you might be growing your team and going into a recruitment drive. All of these, I guess, are opportunities for you to go, okay, does LinkedIn as a piece of that digital real estate support that business objective?
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And it's I mean, we obviously encourage our clients whenever they win an award or whenever they get some media to obviously share that on LinkedIn, but then go into their profile and add it to the, you know, the honors and awards or the credibility factors. You can add them into your profile, can't you?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a really important point, because if somebody shares it through the newsfeed, that's great. And people who are online in that moment are going to see it and ideally engage with it. But, you know, that's eventually going to fall off. So your new connections aren't going to see that. You know, people might have missed that. I think if you're from an awards perspective, it's really looking at that kind of overall campaign. But coming into profile specific, it could be like, for example, putting the award in the banner. It could be updating the headline, award winning. It could be bringing that through the narrative of the about section. Like you said, adding it to the honors and awards section, maybe featuring it. There's a lot of other things that they can do to really maximize the visibility and success that they've achieved through that award. And the other thing I like about awards as well is I feel like it's really helpful for people, because it's not them having to say, hey, I'm really awesome. It's like saying someone else has validated that. So it's you could do a really strong campaign there.
Yeah, that nice third-party endorsement.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. You are listening to the That's Audacious podcast. If you like what you're hearing, there are loads more episodes. Please look for them on your favorite channel. Now, Kylie, if you could go back and tell yourself something, and I know earlier you said, look, I would tell myself to start earlier. I love that. But go a bit further back, maybe to a time where LinkedIn maybe had a big change, because I know every single social media platform changes their algorithms. Particular point in time where you wish you could have given yourself some advice on what not to do or what to do, because now you got that lovely crystal ball where you could go back and go, this is what happened?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And you're right. Like, LinkedIn changes so much and all the time. There's a few little touch points that I'm thinking about. And I think one is kind of right back at the start. I think there was a lot of messaging around like only connect with people that you know. And again, in all fairness, like when I started, that's basically what I was doing. I was only connecting with people if I knew them. And then it didn't kind of take long to figure out that you're limiting your pool of opportunities there. So I would tell myself to be more open to connecting with people I don't know, which I'm more than comfortable doing now, but really at that really early stage, probably not so much. So that would be the first point. The second point, I'm going to go technical. And I was like, I'm not going to try not to be too technical, but I would have jumped on LinkedIn newsletters earlier. I love them. They're like one of my favorite things. And I also LinkedIn company pages as well. I think I probably would have got onto that earlier as a smaller business owner. For the very same reason we talk about profile, is it's that digital asset and digital real estate. And I think a lot of particularly smaller business owners aren't necessarily leveraging that either as well.
Yeah, I love it. And it is, I've seen a real interesting opportunity where you can post something as the business.
Yes.
I love that when we have a client who gets a win in an award or something, we post it as the business saying, hey, it's lovely, congratulations. Whereas if it's me posting, it's more thought leadership,
Absolutely.
So you can leverage both of those. And I love the fact that, as you say, it's about setting it up right and then knowing that you've got to keep maintaining it and monitoring it and making sure that it works. LinkedIn newsletters, if you're listening and you haven't heard about LinkedIn newsletters or you haven't used them, please go and have a look. I know they changed slightly recently, didn't they? I had a newsletter going and then it disappeared because you need X number of followers or subscribers.
Yeah, it got a bit buggy for a while there, but I think they've I knew a few people who actually lost their newsletters, but I believe it's up and back to behaving. So, and I guess to give context, the reason why I like them so much is, again, when I'm on LinkedIn, I'm very reactive to what's in front of me. So, I might miss if you post your newsletter. With a newsletter, I can subscribe to it. So if I subscribe to your newsletter on LinkedIn, then what happens is I'll get that into my email. So it's a more direct touch point with me as well. LinkedIn likes it because, again, like you get your email with the newsletter, you're clicking on it, you're going to LinkedIn. So that's obviously a benefit for them as well. They've recently rolled out some improved analytics, which are really exciting. So again, that was probably one of the deficits of newsletters, is I would talk to people about there's not a great deal of data points and analytics around it, but they are actually rolling out changes to that. So, and I find when LinkedIn improves features, they tend to support people who use them in the way of visibility and reach.
Yeah, brilliant. Now, the other area that I've seen people using really well, and myself included, is expert commentary. So there's a topic that comes up on LinkedIn and I get invited to go and make an expert. They're really helpful in terms of giving you a little credibility badge on your particular area. So if you know your niche, there's a really good, how does that all work, Kylie?
Yeah. So that's more of the community articles. So that's where they're inviting you in to give comment there as well. The other side of that as well is it gives you data points and research, right? So again, LinkedIn has generated this topic idea. They haven't just made it up, right? So it's coming from something. So I think also looking at it as not so much other people's comments, but okay, like what is the broader topic there? And how can I support the comments with creating my own content around that as well?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a good tip as well, I guess. If you're posting on LinkedIn or any social media for that point, but it's certainly on LinkedIn, and you want to get comments on your post, go in and put your own little, here's another thing, or ask people for their opinion. And when people put a thank you or they write something, go and reply to them, because you're just giving that post some love. It's like a no-brainer, isn't it?
Absolutely.
I call it dump and run or something like that. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Don't do that. I think I was saying to someone the other day, I was like, you put a keyboard in front of people and they get weird, right? I'm like, why don't you? And it's exactly like what you're saying. Like I talk to people about if you're having a conversation with someone online, like what does that look like in person? So if you said something and someone said, oh, wow, congratulations, that's awesome. Like you wouldn't just ignore them. Do you know what I mean? Like you would thank them, exactly like what you're saying. So I think thinking about how you would engage in person and how you can bring that online.
Yeah, absolutely. Kylie, our time is nearly up, but I'm wondering, people may be listening to this and going, right, this all sounds fabulous. Where do I start? What's a top tip or an action step that you can give to people listening? Again, they may have LinkedIn profiles set up, they might not. What's something, just an overarching, or maybe a couple of tips if you want to do that way, that people can actually go, right, this is what I need to get done today to improve my LinkedIn profile?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think first of all is looking at, there's three things to look at: your profile, your content, and your connections. So on the profile point, I think I would Google my name, see my LinkedIn profile come up, click on it, and just check in with that messaging. If there was one thing they could change, if they haven't already, it would be their LinkedIn headline. So your headline sits under your name. The default is your current job title and where you work. Your LinkedIn headline is super important because it follows you everywhere on LinkedIn. You do a post, people see your photo, your name and your headline, a comment, etc. So it's a really quick and easy way to shift your positioning just by changing that headline. So that would be the profile tip in that area. In the content, it's just getting consistency. So I did a post yesterday which was about LinkedIn myths, and it was one of the myths was like, I have to post every day. And if you've got enough content and resources, that's fine. But if you don't, that's okay as well. It's more important that you're consistent. So from a content perspective, thinking about, am I being consistent? And if not, how can I be consistent? And then that third bit being the connections. We can have an amazing profile if we can share in great content, but if our network doesn't have our ideal audience in it, we're not necessarily getting the visibility that we could be getting. So I would encourage anyone listening today just to check in on those 3 points. Am I happy with my profile? Is my content consistent? And do I have the right people in my network?
Yeah, love it. Love it. Love it. Well done. That's fantastic. In such a short time, we've got so much gold from you. Kylie, if people want to get in touch with you, find you on LinkedIn, but also on your website, the links will be below this interview, so you can find out how to get in touch with Kylie. Any last minute sort of inspiration or tip or insight that you'd like to share with our listeners today to really inspire them and motivate them to do their best on LinkedIn?
Yeah, I think just understanding people are going to learn about you online before they meet you in person. And if your digital presence isn't aligned with how you represent in person, you're really missing opportunities. So thinking about it from that perspective, and just do it. Like just get started. It might change over time, but you're not going to go anywhere if it doesn't even start. So just start.
Get on with it. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much, Kylie. You've heard it from the LinkedIn expert. Get on with it. Don't wait till it's perfect and just get started. So thank you so much, Kylie. It's been a pleasure talking to you today.
Amazing. And big thank you so much for having me. I know that was going to be a great conversation. I think we could have talked all day, but thank you so much. And thank you everyone for listening. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day too.
Thanks so much for listening to the That's Audacious podcast. Remember, there's no place for modesty in business, and you do deserve to be well known, well paid, and wanted. For more episodes, please subscribe to the podcast on your favourite channel or follow us online. The links are in the description below.